Hi Sanjeev, how are you?
Hey Adnan, hi. Good afternoon. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm well. I'm well. We'll get started. It's you're the only sign up for today, which is primarily a good outcome for you because we can tailor this session for you and we can have a Q&A as we go along. How does
Sure.
that sound?
That's amazing. I mean, I couldn't have asked for anything better. I mean, absolute focus.
Yeah. Generally speaking, yes, we've been getting little less signups than we were expecting or have had in the past, I would say. I'm not sure whether it has to do with the prices of everything going up or just the end of the year where people are focused on other things in June.
Hmm. Yeah, maybe
So, yeah,
sometime. I don't know how it works here. Like
yeah, because we have global programs. So you're based in the US, right? Or the UK?
here in the UK. Yeah.
You're in the UK. So I'm based in Dubai. Generally, we have participants from all over the world. But yeah, things have turned down since March for obvious reasons, I think. It's affected all people and businesses everywhere in the world. But anyway, hey, here we are, and you signing up will turn out to be a good experience for you, I would say.
Absolutely. And I hope that me just being the one doesn't take off anything from that you were looking to impart.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we'll get started. I'll ask a few questions in a few slides as well to get your interest, and we can go from there.
Yeah, 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 sure.
So welcome to
Yeah.
today's session. This is AI implementation in business, and I'm
Uh,
sorry. Go
sorry,
on.
sorry to interject.
Yes,
I will be able to access the recording, right? This will be sent over to me, correct?
yes, and the slides as well. So you don't need to jot
Fabulous.
down anything other than the discussions we had, have the side discussions and all that.
Okay. Another question is, I also signed up for the exam, right?
Yes, yes.
So if you can, like, we can talk anything, like, before, like, we set the tone right in the start. How does that work?
That does work. You will get the exam from Emily.
Hmm.
Perhaps she's in Sydney, so tomorrow morning.
Hmm. Hmm.
Your time, there should be something in your inbox. The exam is primarily based on the slide pack that we
Hmm.
will discuss today.
Hmm.
But I can generally guide you in the end as well about what to expect.
Okay. Okay, sure, sure then. That's great. Well, thank you so much, Adnan, and sorry to interject.
That's okay. That's okay. I don't mind you interjecting because it's just the two of us, and I think if you have any questions and you being curious actually does provide good food for me during the conversation we will be having. So
Hmm.
don't mind at all. Please do feel free to interject and ask questions so that we can have a better outcome for you from today's session.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank you. Sure.
Okay, so a bit about our story, less than 30 seconds. So Rapid Skill Up, it's primarily based out of Sydney and then the Middle East out of Dubai as well. We branched off to Dubai. We cater for global participants, global learning. So the concept is to have one to many sessions. Today it is one-on-one, good for you, but one to many sessions so that people can have business owners, students, graduates, small business providers, etc. Even large educational institutes and all that can have good access to expert learning from different experts that we have in terms of technology. So generally, our vision is for continuous learning, driving personal and societal growth through engagement one to many. We'll move on. So we've had a number of engagements. These are just a few. This is an old slide. So some of the educational institutes are mentioned here. We've trained MBA graduates from UTS, graduates from Melbourne Polytechnic, RMIT University. We've had interactions with them as well. And then we do engage with small to medium business owners as well as large organizations as well that want tailored sessions for their employees in terms of skill upskilling and skill assessment and all that. Right. If you could, Sanjeev, give me a brief about your background, number one, and number two, what interested you to sign up for today, and what are you looking out from today's session? That will help me tailor the conversation as we move along.
So I am looking to create an absolute portfolio and a profile in AI strategy implementation from tech stack point. And it begins right from understanding what are the possible business cases, where are those, applicable. So I have a lot of questions around it. Right, like like where can I start from the scratch to building on to, being a strategy consultant on AI technology for any organization or anyone who is preempting or thinking of how they can work the AI which is implemented, or those who are planning how to implement AI. As far as my experience is concerned, I have had an experience of working in AI, but then back then it was called as Industry 4.0. I can see a lot of trend out there right now is they're just rebranding what used to have a lot of business cases in Industry 4.0 as agentic AI. Like we can talk about AI vision driven, AI vision, computer vision quality management system, or smart shelves, right? Or
Hmm.
IoT driven sensors for asset optimization and things like that. So I have like almost 5 years of experience in Industry 4.0 optimizing and increasing the efficiency of manufacturing supply chain processes
Hmm.
in large scale consumer goods and manufacturing organizations.
Right, right. So you're looking to primarily discuss use cases that can be implemented using AI in order to better optimize and have better productivity in terms of the entire supply chain or other industries as well.
Yes, and not only till use case, but beyond. Like I'd like to see, what is
How to
there
implement and
to
all that.
offer,
Okay,
how to implement as well, where to start.
right.
Especially from an adoption standpoint. Recently, I did a project on building on to the adoption human AI readiness index adoption. So to understand how an AI implementation is seeing the sunrise, when I say sunrise means how we can get the maximum ROI out of an
Hmm.
AI implementation. Until
Hmm.
we understand the adoption, the percentage of adoption, and the level of adoption, we won't be able to talk about the ROI of it, right? So this is also recent work that I have done with a consulting firm. It's a budding startup that is coming up. So yeah, I just want to embrace myself and be an AI stalwart in the industry.
Right,
I mean,
right.
I can.
And what results did you get out of this project of yours in terms of
So
readiness?
the results were like there were six. So we started with eight uh, eight index or factors, I would say, to
Hmm.
explain in a very layman language. Four were hardwired. When I say hardwire, is where we talk about the organization readiness. What is the tech stack point currently? How it can be implemented? How mature the organization is from a tech stack point, etc. And the rest four was behavioral, human related, workplace sociology, and then individual professional sociology with regards to their job volatility, or the gravity of the job, how AI will impact, how does that impact the thought process and all that. So basis that we figured after like almost 20-25 interviews with with people trying to implement AI in the organization, we figured that a couple of factors needed uh, modification. So that is how we've built it. To be
Right.
honest,
And
yeah.
was this a personal project or was this through with an educational institute?
Yeah, it's through an educational institute, and also it involved a startup, which is a live business organization trying to establish a foot in the door with the product validation. So it was more
Okay.
consulting as well. So it
Right,
has
right, right. Okay.
both layers.
That's very interesting. So you've already embarked on your journey with AI, at least in terms of it's a big word, right? So anyway, we will get started, and I'll cover most of these aspects as we move along. So we have a couple of modules. First is introduction to AI in business. What does AI mean, and how does it go about? Since you have a general understanding, a basic good foundation of AI, if you feel like something is very monotonous for you, please let me know and we'll skip ahead, or we can go as the workshop is structured. It's up to you, but feel free to interject if you
Sure, sure.
feel
And
like
let's
it's too
let's
slow for you.
follow the structure of the
Okay,
thing. Yeah.
all right. Second is identifying business use cases for AI. So after what we have learned what AI is, we will look at some use cases. It will have some examples as well, which we can discuss. Module 3 is around AI technologies and tools overview. So once we've understood what use cases are there, generally available are there, so what tools and technologies can be used. Module 4 is roadmap to AI implementation. So once the entire theoretical part in terms of AI, what is it, why is it needed, where to implement it, how do we go about implementing it? So we'll have a business cycle. We'll study a business cycle of AI implementation in there. Module 5 is overcoming challenges in AI implementation. So what challenges are there? And module 6 is Q&A. I would also, based on your current profile, I would also like to discuss something around convergence of technologies. So IoT, blockchain, and AI. Do they converge or do they conflict? Or and how do they work well together and can potentially produce new business cases as well? So something we can discuss at the end of the session. All right. We'll start off with yes, go on.
Yeah, yes, I was responding. Yes, since it's just you and me, I have to be responsive. I think that be right, correct?
Pardon me, I didn't catch that.
So I was just like giving you a heads up
Oh,
that yes,
you were
let's
giving me a heads up. Okay, sorry. Okay,
no
no
worries.
worries.
Yeah.
We'll get started. So, what is AI? So, generally speaking, artificial intelligence is just two words, but it has a very broad meaning. Right now, it is in its well, it's been there for quite a while, more than 50 years or so, and I'll discuss the history in a few slides as well. But once we speak about it, it comes as simulation of human intelligence, just an extension of human intelligence by machines, especially computer systems. So that's a basic rudimentary definition that fits everywhere. However, different organizations, once they embark on the journey to understand, identify use cases, and then implement AI in their own industry or in their organization, they have some sort of bias towards defining AI. So, for instance, in a logistics company or in a supply chain management company, for instance, the industry that you come from, the bias would be optimizing processes intelligently on the go by using machines, algorithms. So that would become a top level AI definition for that organization and industry. However, in perhaps social media organizations, it will be to identify patterns of usage by end users and then take that data input in order to better optimize their algorithms. So each industry and each organization, they have a certain bias as of today because there's one generic definition, but each organization for their use case define AI according to their needs. So artificial intelligence and machine learning technologies, they empower organizations to harness the power of data. So the baseline is data. Once you have data, you collect that data and you can automate that data and gain valuable insights. So the baseline is AI is nothing without data. There needs to be some data inputs, data points, whether that is through IoT sensors or whether that is through surveys such as yourself or interviews such as yourself you've conducted for your project. Now, AI and machine learning. So machine learning is analogous to AI as per today's session. However, machine learning primarily is how machines produce data, and then after production of data, how they um, socialize that data internally through collation and collection, and then synergize that data from multiple sources into a single output, which gives valuable insights. So machines are involved in order to collect data, collate data, and then produce some valuable insights. So what do AI ML algorithms do? Once we speak about algorithms, so these are, of course, software defined programs that enable artificial intelligence to work. So when I say AI algorithm, it is analogous to AI as well. So what do? They collect vast amounts of data. They can identify patterns and then they can make accurate predictions. So these are the three core pillars of artificial intelligence. Once we again speak about artificial intelligence, it has many aspects to it. It's not just one system which computes and produces some output. There are different legs, there are different variants of artificial intelligence. So we'll start looking at the purple bubble on the right, which is knowledge. So primarily, what is knowledge? Knowledge is a collection of data and basic analysis of that data. So once we read a book, we read some form of data and then we collect it in our brain to analyze it in a very basic form. So that is what knowledge is. So what AI does, AI algorithms, they collect data from different sources and they analyze it in a basic rudimentary form. The second bubble below it is perception. So once algorithms have collected data, they can perceive, they can draw some sort of insights from that data. So for instance, if there's a weather station, multiple weather stations, data is collected from those weather stations. That collection and collation is known as knowledge. And then some form of output is derived from it. So for instance, the geolocations of these weather stations, the temperatures during every hour of those weather stations, respective weather stations. So some sort of value or perception is derived based on that data by AI algorithm. So this is a natural progression from knowledge to perception. And the following natural progression is planning. So once data is collected, has been collected, it has been analyzed, some sort of bias or some sort of output has been created from it. Then based on these outputs, and these outputs are a little refined than just collection and analysis, a little refined outputs, an output of perception perhaps, can be used to plan. So, for instance, planning of transport routes, planning of logistics based on data outputs of weather stations, planning of flights, planning of hot air balloons, planning of drones in that particular region, etc. So all of that can be managed. So knowledge, perception, and planning, they are three different pillars of AI that are connected to each other. These are primarily based on the data side of things, the data chain of AI. Feel free to interject if you have a question, if you have a comment, if you want to share your experience based on any of these points or as we move along.
Sure.
Okay. Next up, the pink bubble on the next to planning is natural language processing. So natural language processing is primarily translation of English into machine readable format, back and forth, and vice versa. So just using Google or Alexa, we do, or Siri, we do speak in language that we understand. That language is then translated into machine readable format. Results are fetched from web based on the input, which is natural language, and then the conversion of that back into natural language to be heard or displayed as an output to humans. So that is natural language processing. That this component of AI bridges the gaps between machines and humans.
So natural language has already been like in existence since the time,
Yes,
say example, a search engine like Google was
yes,
like existed, right? So
that's
it's
right.
basically fetching data in a language that is understood, spoken, used by humans, and then processing it in binaries and zeros and ones that the machine understands, and
Mhm.
then the machine converts that back into what the human understands,
That's right.
right?
That's true.
Okay.
All right. And you yes, this is already there, and I have a history of AI as well. So we'll go even further prior to natural language
Mm.
processing to understand the inflection point of starting of AI, or at least the setting of roots of AI in the next
Mm.
few slides.
Sure.
Next up is the light green bubble, which is robotics. So robotics is fairly easy to understand. We have seen sci-fi movies, and we have seen number of let's say we read online docs as well. We've seen robots as well. There's a company called Boston Dynamics in the US, and there's a really good video which shows the progression of robots, humanoids, from early 2000s till date. So there's a vast improvement in those robots. So what are robots? Primarily, robotics is physical machines, hardware, sensors, ICs, components, different components, diodes, etc. All of those being commanded by a software which is intelligent. So another important structure of AI is robotics. Um, the collection of data is through sensors, through speech, through visual cameras as well. So, and it's amazing because I think a couple of years ago I visited Las Vegas, and there's this big Sapphire there where I went with my family, and my son, he was young, and he was wearing this PlayStation t-shirt, and there were three different humanoids. We came across one, and the humanoid was actually conversing with people. So he asked my son, I see, and the first statement was, "Hi, I see that you are a fan of video games," just from the visual aspect of the t-shirt that he was wearing. And then the conversation started, and he asked, "Where are you from?" My son said, "From Dubai." And he said, the humanoid replied by saying, "Thank you for the data." So they are collecting, which was very scary as well, if you think of it, but they are collecting data from different sensors, from visuals, from speech, etc. And they're smart, and there's no lag. So these are displays. What's happening in the labs will be far more advanced than generally available humanoids or robots. So this is a very important aspect of AI that is fairly easy to understand by the general public. Next up, we have machine learning. So I'll discuss machine learning in red, neural networks, and cognitive system. These three are connected to each other. So machine learning, as I have discussed previously, is machines collecting data. Could be sensors, from weather stations, from cameras, CCTVs, etc. Then collating that information, identifying patterns, and creating or doing some sort of analysis as an output. Using that output as an input loop as another input. The output will become another input to the pre-existing inputs. Hence, creating a better refined result over a course of, let's say, 1 day or 2 days or 1 month, depending on the data set, or a minute as well. So the output becomes an input. The machine learns from existing data sources and the output it creates, which becomes an input, and refines the outputs to make it more crisp, to make it more functional and optimized. Next up is, so machine learning, the natural progression from machine learning is towards neural networks, the yellow bubble. Now, neural networks are a prime.
Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry.
go on.
So machine learning, what are the pillars basis which the machine learns? Like,
Based on data. So, for example, there's some human input sometimes involved in here as well. Let's say there are 3 weather stations, right? There are sensors in those weather stations sending data to machines around humidity, around temperature during the day, wind speed, etc. All of that. Let's assume that the data is all right. The sensors are working at 100% efficacy. So the outputs will be as crisp and near to the benchmarks with a fault tolerance as expected. If the sensors turn, let's say one of the humidity sensors, it's not updating data as frequently as it was, there's some issue, or the data is varying now. So the machine identifies that from this sensor in the past 30 days, let's say it was getting data every 15 minutes from that sensor. Now it's being delayed, for example, or the threshold of values that have been preset by humans. So for instance, with a 5% fault tolerance have exceeded to 15%. So the outputs will not be as crisp or will not converge as they were converging in the past 30 days. That will be raised as an alarm by that machine and be used as an input, all right, for next time. Now, once it becomes an input, it will compare the values with the existing inputs that are coming. And within that loops, again and again loop, it will identify that something is wrong. The variations are increasing rather than decreasing. So if there was a 5% fault tolerance with the next input, the variation has gone to from 15 to 16%. And it will raise an alarm for manual intervention, or if the neural network or cognitive network, which I will discuss next, it will try to identify and isolate that fault as a result. So machine learning primarily is, I would call, dumb as compared to neural networks and cognitive systems, but it identifies through learning experiences that something is amiss. It cannot resolve that. Make sense?
okay. Oh no, my question is,
Yes.
so if I understand in a way, it can also be put across as a perspective that, say, suppose something alien or something which is new,
Yes.
there's a possibility that what you're saying, there's a possibility that the machine might consider it as an error.
Yes.
So my question is, the initial data benchmarking, or
Yes.
the grounding factors, the pillars of how one of the of how the data would be defined once the data starts coming in.
Hmm.
Who decides that, and on what basis does that decision happen, right?
Yes.
And
So,
and
yeah,
and,
go on.
and the question
Yes.
is, see, when we say machine learning, I'm thinking is as human brain. So if we go by the standard society norms, right? So
Hmm.
those are defined data.
Hmm.
But somebody has a unique perspective which is never talked, spoken, or discussed within the society defined triage. But that
Yes,
doesn't make the unique perspective wrong or right, correct?
that's right. So,
So how is that identified and all that? Yeah. I
this
hope
is
I'm
a
able. question
No.
that.
I understand. This is a good question, which I will touch upon later as well. To answer your first part, trainers actually train AI. Now, who are trainers? Trainers are either subject matter experts or developers, and/or developers. So, for instance, if medical AI needs to be developed, you would need a doctor who understands data or works with data to define the threshold. So that is your second question. Who defines, how are thresholds defined? That doctor will define the thresholds for that medical AI program. Now, the third part was yes, from a societal norms, another doctor, let's say this doctor is based in the UK, another doctor based in the US might define the thresholds a little bit differently because the patients present in US versus UK, they have different eating habits, they have different lifespans, they have um, um, different lifestyles, etc., which affect their health, right? So in US, a certain medication might be banned as compared to by FDA as compared to the UK. So both of these doctors in different geographical locations, based on their experiences, will act as trainers to define thresholds for based on their experience and the data that they have. Yes, that will create a friction if the AI is implemented globally. So it is a very good question that I will come back to when I discuss bias. So bias is one of the challenges in AI. If I am a teacher and you are a teacher as well, let's say we are in the same school or we are in the same university, we are teaching. I have a slightly different marking criteria than yours. So I might give an exam 30 marks out of 40, and you might give that same exam or paper 32 marks based on your experience. So both of us hold a different bias based on our experiences, based on our profiles, based on our leniency, etc. So that bias has to be calculated in order to either reduce the fault tolerance, or increase the fault tolerance. So let's say the fault tolerance can be generally 5%, but if we have to implement the same program, which the AI that checks exams, we might need to raise the fault tolerance to 7.5 or 10% because students from Africa will be taking that exam, students from the UK, from US, from Russia, etc. So I hope I'm able to give you a certain direction for your third question, which is the societal norms, because yes, everyone has a different view and opinion, and they hold a different bias. So this is one of the challenges that we will discuss as we move forward.
Okay.
Does that satisfy you to a certain level
Mm,
or not yet?
yeah, yeah. I think moving forward also it will get more clear. But all
It will.
initially, then yeah, I'm sure about that. Next, my question is: say suppose the data is coming in for machine to learn. Okay,
Yes.
if you give me a lot of data, right?
Hmm.
Until so basically, what human being how we live is we our brain is so fast that we start categorizing things,
Yes.
right? So on what basis, like, does the categorization happens with the machine? And if it is, then what are those grounds? Like for us, it is, beautiful, tasty, uh, blue, white, nice to look, uh, no, unpleasant to look, etc. So we have like different categorization norms. How does the machine categorize that?
The machine categorizes it based on how it is taught to categorize. So machine learning primarily is it's a white plain paper. The trainer makes the machine understand how categorization needs to take place. So at the level of machine learning, it is very dumb. It's a software program that needs to be written based on all of the things that you mentioned. You would actually input all of those as categories, and that's it. So the machine would follow the commands at the level of machine learning. It's dumb at this level in order to categorize based on what it has been told, how it has been told to categorize by the trainer.
Okay.
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 Once we move to neural networks,
Hmm.
this is a progression on top of machine learning. Now, neural networks, primarily the name comes from neurons in our brains. These neurons in our brains, they are connected to each other and they exchange information through electrical impulses in our brain. Neural networks are similar. So neural networks are different sets of AIs that exchange information with each other. So imagine machine learning, different machines that have the ability to categorize things, categorize and create an output, and they exchange information with each other. So once exchange of information comes, another form of data set or another set of data sets opens up to all machines through sharing of information. So neural networks primarily are like a human brain. We can walk, we can talk, we can do different functions at the same time: see, speak, smell, hear. All of the exchange of information is happening on the fly, hence the name neural networks. The same idea implemented into software programs of AI is neural networks, exchange of information on the fly, which leads to, yeah, go on.
Any real-time example of neural networks?
Neural networks, let's say there's Alexa, all right? So that has natural language processing implemented in it. Now, assume Alexa is connected to smart mobility vehicles, which can rapidly exchange information with each other, autonomous vehicles which can exchange information with each other. So they create a mesh. Assume there are 5 drivers driving 5 autonomous vehicles on the road. These vehicles are exchanging information with each other. Right now, Teslas, they have information, but the store is internally within them. They don't exchange information with these different vehicles. Hence, decision making does not occur at this level. So speed, the current speed of vehicle 1 is shared with vehicle 2, which is in close proximity to each other. The number of passengers in vehicle 2 is shared with vehicle 1, which is in close proximity to each other. The traffic data, the sensors, all of those are being exchanged and with each other on the fly. Hence, decision making can take place. Does that make sense? And then there's, to top it up, there's Alexa as well. So humans can give commands as well, which becomes another dimension of input to neural networks.
Okay. So if I were to like understand this simply, if
Yes.
we look at say Barcelona for a team, the way the team plays, because when we see the play in slow motion, we see
Yeah.
that the lot of players are preempting which
Yes.
direction the next player will put the ball to,
Yes.
right? And that is
Yes.
how we term it as, oh, they are coordinating well, and then eventually they put the goal.
That's right.
So it's like talking between different, but it then still uh, it doesn't jump, right? When I say it doesn't jump, in the sense it has to be bounded by one. Like say example for football, it is just limiting to football and those 11 players, and they are talking within that boundary of football, right?
Yes.
It doesn't happen that the variables which are common for any game like football and then rugby also,
Hmm.
but then here those variables are not talking cross-functionally, right? Correct? Like the rugby variables and the
That's right.
football variables are not talking to each other. It is only limited to their individual games.
That's right. Correct. You got it.
Okay.
And that actually leads into, it's good you brought this example up. That actually leads into cognitive system. So
Okay.
a cognitive system is a fully functional, fully capable, fully decisive, and actionable system, AI system that is self-sufficient and can take decisions and implement them. So, taking your example, rugby and football, soccer,
Mm,
a cognitive system will understand all the decision making of soccer and all the decision making of rugby.
mm,
And it will, while it understands, it can overlay both of these decision making rules on top of each other to derive a decision based on the game. So, for instance, there's a skill or there's a routine which is used in rugby but not used in soccer. So, a cognitive system will be able to implement that cross-functionally across the sport into soccer. So, it's a fully capable, fully decisive, fully decision making and implementing system that has access to all data sets across different with all different variables, infinite variables across infinite different data sources. And based on those, the decision making at this level is performed because this is a superset of neural networks performed at a very top level, taking, let's say, I usually give the examples of a nuclear launch. A nuclear launch by AI will take into consideration some sort of AI does not have emotions, but it will take consideration of let's say cultures, values. It might be able to understand some sort of emotions, population sizes, geographies, travel patterns, number of children in a place, number of adults in a region, different weather conditions, rotation of the earth, time of the year, time of the day. So if there were to be a catastrophic event triggered by, let's say, AI or humans, not externally, uh, all of the data that is available in the world from every system that cognitive systems have access to will be taken into consideration in order to logically derive an output, whether to perform an action or not.
So, g- I know this is an example, but looking at the
Yes.
gravity of the example, if we consider that,
Yes.
then it becomes really important that how we define the factors,
That's right.
right?
That's right.
So,
And who defines the factors?
yeah, and
Because,
who defines the factors, right?
yes,
So, up until what I know on just, the little bit is, okay, the data can be bifurcated in like sentimental that the AI can understand,
yes,
then semantic
yes,
and systematic.
yes.
Beyond these three, what are the more like categories of data definitions?
Um, I think I haven't thought of it to that level, but it depends on, again, it comes back to the question you raised, the third point on the bias of the trainer of that system. So let's say if we go back one step, let's say the trainer is somebody who is anti war, for example, or anti launch, or whatever it is. And then there is another trainer that is sitting in between and takes more, leans more towards sentimental data rather than systematic data. And then there's a third trainer that is full on into, if this happens, do this. Don't think about it at all. So again, these buckets can be or will be defined by trainers, and thresholds will be set by them, not just for this example. For as simple as, let's say, an example of a machine cutting steel bars. If there is a tolerance, if I train that machine that the tolerance of the steel bar, it has to be cut to 1 meter length. The tolerance can be plus minus 1%. I'm okay with that. The machine will cut, measure, uh, and then either discard that piece or redo it, right? If there's another trainer that might say it should be less than 1 mm because the industry that we have to provide it to has a low level of tolerance to, let's say, the length of the bars. So it primarily depends on the trainer of data, irrespective of what the use case is, how AI will consider decision making in its capability or capacity, whether it's more systematic, more leaning towards more systematic or semantic, etc.
Okay.
So I don't have a clear-cut answer for that, I would say, but I would lean back towards the trainer who has biases towards training data sets for AI.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next up is we'll not spend more time here, but just to give you a perspective on the start of AI. So there's in 1950, there's Alan Turing publishes The Computing Machine and Intelligence, that machines, primarily the basis of this paper is that computing can solve a lot of problems, and software, not software, but computing machines, when it was much more around hardware initially to create hardware and systems, can alleviate a lot of problems and is more functional, more 24/7 live, and it can makes less errors and all that. So based on that, small programs started developing. So checkers, human versus AI checker or computer, which we all have played chess or checkers somewhere. So us versus machines was a simple program as well, where in 1952 it's more self-learning based on the mistakes that it makes. The checkers program, it stores that data to not make those mistakes based on the computation of moves that are left on that board, etc. So the evolution started from there, leaning into IBM Watson, which became very well known in 2006, that it was answering a lot of quiz based games, questions, etc. And then we have Alexa, and we have um, Fake Catcher in 2022, and Elon Musk and ChatGPT. So all of that is current that we know today, but the foundation was laid in the 1950s, where it was envisioned that computing machinery will be able to surpass human intelligence at some stage, because of a number of factors that computing machinery with software, now known as AI, will be able to perform in a much more efficient way than human brains, and even an extension of that might occur in the future as well. So that foundation was laid in the 1950s.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So that brings us to the conclusion of module one. We'll start off with module two, which is primarily identifying business use cases for AI. So in order to do that, we have to, sorry, was there a question, Sanjeev?
No, no.
Okay. In order to do that, we need to understand the categories of AI. So on a very, if we were to just put AI in two buckets, there are two buckets: strong AI and weak AI. Now, weak AI, also known as narrow AI, it is designed to complete a certain task within that limited context. Some examples are virtual assistants such as Siri, Alexa, Google Assistant. What do? They are personal assistant. They set up reminders, answer questions. They control smart home devices. There's a limited context to what they can perform. Image recognition software, facial recognition. Again, there's a limited context. It verifies individuals based on their facial features. Spam filters identifies spam. That is the unique case for spam filters. Autonomous vehicles, Tesla, Waymo. Individually, they are weak AI if they are not exchanging data, and I'll discuss this later as well, with each other. And chatbots, they answer questions. They are available 24/7, etc. The other bucket is strong AI. So strong AI is AGI. So this is what we are referring to as neural networks and um, what was the, so apologies, neural networks and cognitive systems. So what does AGI mean? AGI is a commonly used term now, artificial general intelligence, which has a broader meaning than just AI. So programming that can replicate the cognitive abilities of human brain, an extension of human brain. This is more complex, can perform different tasks. So, for example, strong AI example is human-like robots. They can perform multiple functions. They can perform sensory functions. They can perform tasks by which humans can assign. They can speak. They can converse. They can engage in complex situations or conversations, etc., based on the data that they have. Universal problem solvers are primarily softwares that uh, they have code that is defined on embedded in them based on logics. So based on logics, they can tackle problems, they can resolve problems. They are more problem solvers based on the code that has been defined for them. So they can be creative. They can tackle any intellectual challenge, etc. as well. Because the baseline program is defined in order to identify the problem, look for answers, and then resolve or provide solutions for the problem. It's how the structure is set up for universal problem solvers. Advanced personal assistant. So, an upgrade to Siri and Alexa, let's say, they can give you life managing information. They can manage your schedules. They can help you with personal relationships. They can help you as a trainer. So all of these different aspects that we engage in terms of health, finances, let's say spirituality, perhaps in some shape or form, based on the data that is fed, um, relationships, etc. So all the different aspects that we encounter as humans can be assisted by advanced personal assistants. And then there's the creative AI, where original works of art, music, or literature can be created. Now, original means um, something which is new and innovative and has not been touched upon by human creation. So there are not many examples of creative AI, but in the form of art and music and literature, creating inspirations, collating inspirations from the existing art, let's say Aboriginal art from Australia, or Scandinavian art, or Indian art, for example, and getting inspiration from the, different aspects, and then collating that into a new, unique, original work of art is an example of creative AI, which falls under the category of strong AI.
Okay. Uh, but
Sorry,
I think,
I can't really hear you. Could you say that again?
yeah, I was just thinking, maybe I was thinking a bit
Yeah,
loud on this. I think this is the most easiest form of AI or the most abundant form of AI because at the end, say, suppose if an AI has data, it at the end boils down to the number of permutations and combinations of that data,
yes.
and then the output of those permutations and combinations can be again permutated and combined on top of it. It will eventually lead to something unique, right?
That's right.
So example, uh, say a computer playing chess, if it has had say 100 people, those who have 200 people on like 100 on each side, and if it is learned say n number of ways of how uh, a knight walks in the chess game, eventually out of those different I would say those moves, eventually the AI would come just basis on this probability of permutations and combination which the human might have not thought about.
That's right. It the basic I think the framework of any basic framework of AI would be based on a decision tree. So collection of data, deciding what is the output based on the data that is present, and then collating that with other data sets, and then ultimately, as you said, reaching a decision. Um, depends on the data that is present or available to AI for particular use cases. Yes.
So my question is, the initial part we discussed, it is doable by AI. Now,
Yes.
what really makes me inquisitive is how does an AI preempt the decision that with these two combinations or with these n combinations coming together, it might lead to this outcome. That preemption, that prediction, what is the genesis of it? If we talk about like if it is in physics form or if it is in mathematical form or if it is in anything that can be put forth in psychological form, like what happens beneath it that it reaches to that decision.
It depends on how it is structured. So there would be some sort. So let's because this is a generic statement, right? So let's look at a use case of, for example,
Maybe you want to dive into the business cases, use
a
cases.
medical. Yes. Let's see a medical. Let's say a medical AI. Let's say there's a bot, right? So it has been trained to diagnose, get inputs of symptoms and diagnose uh, diseases or issues with patients, right? So the patient inputs converses with the medical AI bot and relays the symptoms. The medical AI, so that becomes a data set. Okay, symptoms data set. Next up, it does check the blood pressure, the oxygen levels, the blood tests, and all that. So all of these medical reports, X-rays, and all of these become a data set as well. So how it is trained will depend on the trainer. Let's say the trainer trains it that once you receive these data sets, go through the list based on the symptoms, based on the reports, go through the list of possibilities of diseases that that person might have, assuming that the result is five potential diseases, but the probability of those diseases is, let's say, different. So one of those diseases, based on the blood count and all that, um, will be, let's say, 95%. The other might be 80%. The third one might be 75%. The fourth one might be 30%. Last one, 10%. Right? So based on the current data, there's a certain output that is derived based and a percentage assigned against it. Now, the next iteration could possibly be that the trainer has told the AI, once you receive this output, then assign more value on output one, assign more value to the blood count and let's say the white blood cells, the red blood cells, and the iron levels in the blood. So the assignment to these would be, let's say, 80% on the second iteration, and let's say 10% to the blood pressure and 10% to heart rate. So based on that, it will identify with a high level of certainty that might be, let's say the threshold is 5%, plus minus. So 90, if the one of the diseases fall at 95% or more, it will conclude that the patient has certain disease. Now, going back to your question, the basis is how that AI is trained to logically think and perform permutations to identify possibilities of certain diseases which will rank it higher than other diseases. Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Because the baseline, Sanjeev, is we want to have a human-like system, but we are not there yet. So, right, and I'll discuss a few examples as well. Trainers need to train AI on data sets, and then once they train, there are some limitations that come with those as well because the biases are there. Anyway, I'll go through that, but just going through types of AI. So we've looked at categories of AI, two different buckets, weak and strong, and now different types of AI in terms of the function they perform. So the classification is based on functionality. The left two, reactive and limited, are actually categorized under the category of weak AI, and theory of mind and self-awareness, that falls under the category of strong AI. But for these four classifications are based on functionality of AI. So reactive AI primarily is that it does that certain reactive AI identifies patterns really quickly. It's great for where all parameters are known. So for instance, a checkers board. Next up, limited memory, autonomous vehicles. So there's limited memory because decisions are taken on the fly. It can handle complex tasks, but within a limited context of whether I should overtake this vehicle with the data set present to me within this nanosecond, microsecond, and second or not. Should I apply brakes or not? So there's a limited memory for that timing to take decisions. But those decisions are a little complex than reactive AI.
Okay. So I have a very specific question.
Yes.
Which bucket will which type of AI will this kind of project fall into? Say, suppose if I want to, you know, do the rollout of, say, Microsoft Copilot
Yes.
for students,
Yes.
example.
Yes. That will fall under limited memory.
Limited memory can handle complex classification tasks, able to
Yes.
use historical data to make predictions. Okay.
There's a so I'll give you the context why. So reactive is just basic reaction to what is happening. Limited
Oh,
memory is a little more complex than that in terms of, let's say, Copilot has to be installed for student. So this is a task which is very specific and has an output which is measurable, right? It's either a yes or a no. If there are systems 750 systems of students that Copilot needs to be installed on, we can actually measure the output really well, right? We know what the output should be 750 out of 750 installations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So that's the predicted, it's not even predicted, it's a known output. So it is falls within limited memory. Once we go to theory of mind and self-awareness, here the output is a little murky. It's not like 750 out of 750 installations because the data input for theory of mind, let's just discuss theory of mind first and then we'll move to self-awareness. The data input of theory of mind does take reasoning and human motives into consideration. For example, it's more complex than limited memory. For example, let's say there's a legal AI. Okay, we have advanced to a stage where sometime in the future there are no lawyers, and there are AI agents which are actually representing clients or defendants in a courtroom, and the judge is also AI. All right. So let's assume there's a theft on one of the main streets of UK. Let's say, what's one of the main streets from Monopoly? Oxford Street, right? So Oxford Street, there are different brands. There's a theft at 8 p.m. on a Thursday night. And the window was broken, the glass was broken, and there was the store, and handbags and jewelry and all that was stolen. So if this case is put forward to a legal AI, it will take into consideration a number of factors. So what can be data inputs? If you need to just think about how this would be processed. So data inputs would be the time, the date, the day of the theft,
Yeah.
the
A lot. So all the factors that defines the metadata that
yes,
encapsulates the entire incident from all
yes,
standpoints. Yeah, that can be the thing. Okay.
that's right. Municipality data, the lighting data, the number of vehicles on the road at that time, the location of police at that time from the police department. So a number of things, variants. So all of this is kind of, I would say this is static data, okay? But on the other hand, the decision tree will also involve the human motives and reasoning. The judge AI will look at the previous thefts conducted by that person, the family history of thefts of that person, the first year relationships, any thefts from first year, the financial status of that person, whether he is employed or she unemployed or employed, the state of mind as well. It will also take into consideration whether somebody was this person is in bereavement. Did somebody pass away close to them? What was the status of their children? Were they going to school? What was the condition? So a number of psychological and motives based on
I,
reasoning
I,
of this
I,
individual.
sorry, I have an observation. All this type
Yes.
of data forms the past form of data.
So any data that has been recorded somewhere, right? So all of this data that is sourced for this
Okay.
particular
So,
person
but then
will,
how does it relate? Okay. So how does that relate to the past form of data? How does this relate to what's happening or what have might have had happened in the due course of that action?
right? So motives can be assessed, reasoning can be assessed based on that. So a human aspect of what the condition of mind of that person was at that stage at 8 p.m. on a Thursday night, what was not to 100% certainty, but in a court of law, the condition of mind of the accused is also proven, right? Whether the accused was in a perfect state of mind, was that person drunk at that time and not in his 100% capacity? So these are issues that can be taken into consideration. Well, they are in the court of law, but for AI taking all of these considerations in making a judgment as well. The state of mind of the accused. That's the answer, I think, to your question.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
This is just one of the examples, right? Just to understand human behavior. If, for instance, a student does not perform well in school, were they sick? AI might consider that yes, they were sick. 25 days of the year they were sick, so absence. They were absent. They could not cope up with the classwork. Hence the poor performance. Hence give them, let's say, relaxed marking. So
Okay.
this is a little more complex than installing Copilot in students' computers. Hence theory of mind, and this falls under the category of strong AI.
Okay.
Uh,
So,
yeah.
so what can be the test use cases for this particular use case?
Test use cases, legal, which I just discussed with you. Identifying the state of mind of the accused as well.
I'm sorry. I'm talking about the use case of, say, Microsoft Copilot uh, adaptation for the students. Like,
Adaptation for students.
yeah,
So
for
so
students, the use case is, oh, sorry, no, maybe the problem statement we can say on the use
yes,
case
yes.
is Copilot rollout for students, right?
Hmm.
And what can be the the test use cases to understand the student needs and identify their effective approaches?
Right. So potentially students, number one could be could be a survey just like you conducted, whether there are gaps in performing certain actions by students on their devices. Those gaps can be identified, and if they can be filled by Copilot, number one. Number two, potentially um, understanding from a scoring perspective. Let's say there are 100 students, and their performance is not as, because we have to look at the output of Copilot, right? So
Hmm.
Copilot will enhance some form of, in some shape or form, performance as well. So
Hmm.
assuming these 100 students, their performance is not as good as their peers in a university down the street, right? If we compare their performances who are using Copilot potentially, or who are not using Copilot, but still just doing a comparative analysis, those um, their performance can be judged on perhaps the time taken to hand in their assignments. Let's say 10% of the students are always late. Hence, they find it difficult to manage time. Copilot will help them manage time. Could be, let's say, grammatical errors or English issues, language issues that can be helped by Copilot. So perhaps 15% have consistently performed less than they should versus 85% of their peers. Hence, there is a need. Um, then there could be potentially um, time management, performance, um, any sort of output of Copilot that will enhance productivity, time management, intelligence.
So,
Research is
so,
an important aspect as well.
so basically, you're saying that test use cases are basically hypotheses.
Hmm. Not just hypothesis, some sort of analysis based on the performance of the data. Yes, the output of that might be a hypothesis with a higher certainty than just a hypothesis on paper, because there is actual data collection based on the performance of the student. Outputs of the student performance is data. Based on that, some decision can be taken whether these students require Copilot. If they do, how much performance enhancement will potentially Copilot provide in terms of percentage? So yes, this is hypothesis, but with a higher level of certainty, I would say, because we're working with data. It's not just theory.
Mm. Okay. But we need something, a standard to compare with, right? But here the situation is like, say, suppose it is the first time Copilot rollout,
Mhm.
right? So that's then how do we develop the standard data to compare from?
Standard data is number one. I think if I were to do it right, I would look at the
Mm.
performance of the students. I would look at number one, what is the performance of students, and what can be enhanced by Copilot if students use it, right? So time management is one, right? Research, better quality of research can be enhanced by Copilot for students who are using it.
Yeah.
So that is a criteria. Maybe the research is only primary resources are quoted. Students do not quote secondary resources because they have less time, or they don't go very deep into research, etc. All right. So that will be a point for me as well. Research, time management, and again, consistency of students as well. Maybe students are able to perform really well in midterms rather than a final and end of semester exams because of pressures of all exams happening within the same week or 2 weeks. So perhaps from a preparation point of view as well, Copilot can help them identify their own weak areas or
Okay.
topics that they are not
Correct.
competent in prior to the
Sure.
exam. So I would look at those if I were to
Okay.
um,
So I
look at.
understand this as, thank you so
Yes,
much, actually, Adnan. So I understand that this as what is the different end goals
yes,
that I can achieve for a student,
yes,
and what are the pillars or factors that are required in achieving those different end goals.
that's right.
Okay, amazing. Thank you.
And
Yeah.
and can those end goals, third part would be achieved by using Copilot? So we need to look at the features of Copilot as well.
Right. All
Okay.
right. Yeah. And like APIs and everything can come into picture later on, right?
Of course, yes. Different
Amazing. Amazing.
systems, APIs from different systems can be integrated in some
Correct.
shape or form,
Sure. Sure. Amazing.
right?
This is going amazing, Adnan. Can we like
Okay. Okay.
delve
Perfect.
into
I
this?
love your questions. That's good. I haven't had as many deep questions as you are asking, which is good. I'm enjoying it as well.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Okay. Last is self-aware. So again, consider this as self-aware, fully functional, fully capable, fully understanding, fully decision-making, and fully actionable system. Human level intelligence that can bypass our intelligence too. So considered a long shot, but still it is one of the types of AI. I'll move forward. Advantages of AI, good at detailed oriented jobs. So, for instance, AI can scan, and again, one of your questions was, can it predict? How does it predict? So, from scans based on a current data set and identifiable scans, it can diagnose and, of course, also predict that the cell formation or cell growth is, I'm not a doctor, but I'm just giving you a hypothetical example, is more concentrated on, let's say, a certain organ of the body, which based on the data that AI has, has a high chance of more than 90% or 80% chance of forming into a cancer because of the current cell high concentrated cell growth. All right. So that is something that can be done using AI and is being done as well, at least from a predictive point of view. Reduce time for data heavy tasks. So again, there are so many industries, including the financial industry, for insurance, pharma industry, loan applications, fraud detection. All of that is currently being managed by some AI programs employed by banks, which block transfers, which help identify fraud, etc. And this is currently employed by banks. Saves labor and increases productivity 24/7, warehouse
Uh,
automation, etc. Yes, Sanjeev.
yeah, this is amazing. My question is with regards to deliver consistent result.
Yes.
In my opinion, I'm a bit skeptic about this because, like we all know, right? AI keeps learning, and there's a
Yes.
concept called it hallucinates a number of
Yes.
times, and there have been
Yes.
like big reports by audit firms like Deloitte giving
Hmm.
wrong data to a firm in Canada, in Australia,
Hmm.
and the US. They've been signed, like they've been sued big time for it. So how, like, what's the problem here with regards to consistency of data? What's the solution? Does it require constant monitoring of those AI agents, bots, or the data set, or the algorithm that works in the background? Like, how does that can be curtailed at the same time? And also, before I say this, that this is a problem, I am saying I'm skeptic about it. So I would like you to enlighten me that whether being skeptic is right on this topic or not right now.
I would look at it from a different lens. I would look
Okay.
at it if I am developing an AI algorithm to perform a certain task, and the task is to deliver consistent results time and again. I would not integrate it with a module that self learns. I would actually deploy it, this software, this AI algorithm, in isolation within the warehouse to perform certain tasks as expected with a high level of accuracy without
Okay, so
actually
this
thinking.
okay, so this statement is limited to say fixed workflow kind of a job.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
But from what you said, and this is why Elon Musk and these big AI leaders, they say we should stop and slow down AI development, because even if AI is within a lab and it has access to n number of data sources, and even if it is trained or it is not allowed to within code, it's not allowed to take some action. It's just allowed to provide information. At some stage, perhaps that can break through n number of iterations. So yes, it is, from that perspective, it can become a menace, perhaps a threat as well. Menace might be a small word, perhaps a threat as well, but who knows, I would say. But again, it's how you limit, how you train AI to stay within that shell.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I do agree. You have a perspective which stands as well. But yeah, right now it's just consistent results, which can vary with n number of resources and n number of iterations. Yes, it can happen.
Hmm. Okay.
Next up, can improve customer satisfaction through personalization, websites, ad recommendations, messages, etc. AI powered virtual agents are always available. So 24/7 chatbots. Disadvantages, it's expensive as of today. Why is it expensive? Because of hardware costs, because of number two, which requires deep technical expertise. So it is expensive as well from that perspective. There are not many uh, AI data engineers out there. Yes, they are in the making, but there are not many as of, let's say, today. As with any nascent new upcoming technology, it takes a couple of years, a decade to mature at least. Limited supply of qualified workers to build AI tools reflects the biases of its training data at scale. This is what I was referring to when you asked your first question.
Hmm. Hmm.
This comes up as a disadvantage. Why? If I train an AI algorithm to, uh, I'm just thinking of a better example.
Yeah, yeah, I
To,
get it. I get it.
yeah, you get it?
So,
Okay.
no, but then we together, can actually. So what I was trying to
Yes.
say here is I can like try and give an example and you can validate or enlighten me more on it and build on it.
Yeah,
So,
let's do it.
so, so suppose there's an academia who is like 30 years into academics,
Hmm.
PhD, researcher, etc., etc., and then there is equal years of experience, but grassroots experience, like real time experience of the field and the field is common between them. So
Okay.
I think if we take them as subject matter experts, there is an absolute possibility that these two can deliver great outcome in terms of training the AI tools, but there will be stark difference as well.
That's right. So them working independently as trainers
Hmm.
will the AI algorithm might excel in different areas,
Hmm.
non-overlapping areas, and some overlapping areas as well.
Hmm.
But they might excel in different non-overlapping areas. So you understand. And as the scale grows,
Hmm.
the biases or the cracks start to appear more. If a software program is just employed in, let's say, Deloitte, UK, across UK, it's a certain geography, right? So it might work very well at a 99% efficiency. The results are appreciated as well. However, once it is scaled across the globe in all Deloittes, the Australian Deloitte way of working is a little different to the UK versus the Europe versus Middle East. So the efficiency might fall down to, let's say, 93% because the scale has grown, the data set has grown, but the biases still remain there and the cracks start to appear. Those biases start to appear in different regions.
Right.
Okay. So this is one of the most important points I want to leave you with today. Okay.
Hmm.
Uh,
Sorry, can you
yeah.
please repeat that? I'm really sorry.
Repeat Deloitte or repeat the statement after.
No, the one that you want me to take away. I
Oh,
can't miss
yes.
on that.
So that's the one, two, three, fourth
Hmm.
point reflects the biases of its training data at scale.
Hmm.
Because if the issue is if somebody in their basement develops an AI algorithm and in line it's let's say 9,000 lines of code and in line number 7,555 there's some bias embedded of that programmer
Hmm.
that might not be suitable to 95% people who end up using that software code.
Oh, okay. Okay, this is amazing psychology. Okay, yeah.
Okay. So this is very important.
Yeah.
So taking your example, the
Uh,
30 years academic versus the 15 years of field experience, if they're working together
uh,
as trainers to train AI, that will achieve far more comprehensive results than them working separately as well.
hmm. Yeah, like exactly like my university. It is like the whole academia is about learning by doing. We don't
Yeah.
teach MBAs in the class.
Hmm.
We teach it through life projects. Okay,
Good.
now it
Okay.
makes sense.
That's good. Second last is lack of ability to generalize from one task to another. Now, a disclaimer about this. This is as of today. So these disadvantages are as of today. So you can't pick up an AI to deploy, which has deployed Copilot in 750 students' laptops or devices, and pick that up and deploy that to, let's say, install another program, for example, without actually changing it. So generally, well, that's a bad example. You can't deploy it to, let's say, maintain a firewall in those 750 devices, because that is a separate task rather in comparison to installation of a software program. Eliminates human jobs, increases unemployment rates. We are actually seeing that as of today. Big organizations, tech organizations, they have employed AI, robotics, and people are losing jobs. It's meant to be. We'll see what happens in the future, though.
Yeah, Anand, to this point, just sorry
Yeah,
to jump away from the topic. I've been
that's okay.
thinking,
Yes.
is there a way out to work this around? Because human existence is important. At least, I'm a very human centric person, and I want to find a way out between this. That okay, fine, like many other technologies came in, we human learn to work with them, right?
Yes.
But up until what is happening with AI, there was no technology like that. So I want to like kind of find a midway where there still can be like coherence and coexistence between AI and human being. I mean, it should not lead to unemployment rates. What's your perspective?
My perspective is that there are different levels of employment. Let's speak about an organization. At the gate of that organization, you will find a security guard. Once you go walk in through the security, you will find a receptionist. Then you will find perhaps a lift operator, depending on which country of the world you
Correct.
are in.
Yeah.
Then you will find an office manager, HR, team leaders, managers, etc. Then you will find executives and CEOs and board of chairman and board and chairman and all that. So there's a hierarchy of employed people, right?
Mm.
There are certain employment types that will not be affected by AI, and those primarily fall into the category of innovation, into the category of creativeness, into the category of problem solving. So these three, innovation, creativity, and problem solving, these will not, at least in the initial few years or decades, I would say, you would still need these three types of people. Yes, the security guard might be replaced by a humanoid. Yes, the receptionist might be replaced by a humanoid or AI, just a screen. Just like we need to go into McDonald's and pay on the screen, right? So there's no, they are replacing servers. But these three different job types will still remain there. That's my take on it.
Okay. Well, thank you. Yeah.
Welcome. Okay, why AI matters for business? There's efficiency. So businesses are primarily for profit. They want efficiency in every process to improve their bottom line. So AI can automate repetitive tasks, freeing up employees for more strategic work. Decision making. There's quick decision making. There's data which can be sourced from multiple resources from different departments, leading to better informed decisions. Do you have a question, Sanjeev, or a comment?
No, no,
Okay,
it's great.
all right. Customer experience, again, AI-powered chatbot. So a little better online engagement. New business opportunities. So this is an important aspect as well, something that you should take away, new business opportunities.
Mm.
AI can create entirely new product services and business models. Now, I won't be able to answer what new products, new services, or business models can be created. Otherwise, I would be doing that and not be here with you on this.
Yeah, I've tried this. Like I've tried this, but
Uh, But I can give you an example.
Mm,
You see, if we take the example of Uber, we go back a couple of years, it's not related to AI, but just to give you a perspective,
mm,
if we look at the example of Uber, Uber is an entirely new product slash
mm,
service, right? It is a new business model as well. However, the the technologies used were not new. They were still in existence. Number one, we still had mobile phones back in the day when Uber
mm.
was developed. We had taxi services and we had mobile data connectivity as well.
Correct.
So all of these three things were there. They were just combined into a new product, packaged into new product and a new business model. So
Mm,
similarly, if we take this thought process ahead, if humans were able to do it, AI can create n number of new product services and business models
mm.
once it is enabled to do so. That is where the value is that, and that is why AI stocks keep rising as well, because one might be sleeping and 1,000 new products might be actually not be could be created by AI in one night, not even one night, in an hour or 2 hours, depending on the processing and data capabilities and inputs, of course. But some n number of products can be created. Another aspect is that some businesses are trialing and adopting AI, such as financial services businesses, banks. They have these spam filters and they have these, you can apply for mortgage in 5 minutes and get a result and all that. They have these criteria set up already. Of course, you need to apply to the bank later on, but you get an initial assessment. Then fraud detection is there as well. So if one bank has employed it, the remaining banks in that region or the world also need to deploy it in order to remain competitive. So that's an interesting take as well. Most of the businesses are moving there, just like online in late 1990s, early 2000s. Businesses were slowly, gradually moving online. Those who haven't moved online, they've become dinosaurs.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember purchasing first thing online was back in 2011.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. Good. Uh, okay. Next up, common applications in businesses. So customer services, there are chatbots, virtual assistants, sentiment analysis tools as well. In sales and marketing, there are targeted advertising, lead scoring, personalized recommendations. So the current software providers, software as a service, they have integrated some sort of AI models into their existing workflows to remain relevant in the industry. Operations, so predictive maintenance, inventory management, supply chain optimization as well. Operations can employ AI. Finance can employ, of it's already there that we have discussed. Human resources, talent acquisition, employee training, performance management. So just optimizing these tasks for these different departments in an organization.
Mm. Benefits of artificial intelligence in business.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
So benefits of artificial intelligence, they are similar to the benefits we have discussed, but a little
Mm,
more streamlined for business, reduce operational time. AI can automate operational tasks. So business leaders don't need to actually focus on operational day-to-day operational tasks. They can get a report from AI by the end of the day, or 3 times a day, or 5 times a day, or whatever it is. Cost reduction, significant salaries can be reduced and increase of revenue. Data analysis tasks can be automated. Limit human error. So that is, sometimes we are all humans, we make mistakes. Sometimes big, sometimes small, can result in business losses as well. Increased business insight. So if there's a 360 degrees dashboard of the entire business operations, from human resources to finances to procurement to operations, everything's there. on the fly, available 24/7 to business leaders. They can take better decisions, and even if they get recommended decisions, they can actually take better decisions.
Hmm.
Okay, case studies, tech companies and AI. So how does AI influence what we see online via tech companies such as Google, X, Instagram? So what usually happens after you finish watching a video on YouTube, or right when you open TikTok, what happens at the back end? How are these apps so good at feeding you what they want you to see? So their AI algorithms are actually recommendation algorithms, and that is their source of bread and butter as well. So these recommendation algorithms, I think I'll go to the next slide. Here we go. So recommendation algorithms are trained on data, like things we watch, click, like, comment, share. So they
Hmm.
predict the time we spend on a post as well,
Hmm.
without scrolling, or on a video, the seconds or the minutes we watch a video, do we scroll up, scroll back, etc. So all of these are used to make predictions on the data content that we like, even on the metadata, based on the metadata as well from our devices, and metadata of that
Yeah.
the content as well.
Adnan, I have a question. Sorry
Yes,
to
please.
interrupt.
That's okay.
So this is real time experience. So what happens is nowadays, at times like I'm cooking or I'm cleaning, okay, and
Hmm.
I was watching say shorts on YouTube,
Yes.
and coincidentally it happens that I keep my mobile and there is something that is getting played, and since it's a short, so it keeps on playing again and again and again, right?
Mhm,
But
mhm,
and like I'm on my headphones and I'm like cooking or doing my so many a times a short runs for like say for an hour.
mhm.
At that point in time, I am unwantingly, very consciously giving wrong information to the this feed, right?
Hmm.
Okay, but then at the end, it's me who's at the loss because
Yeah,
irrespective whether
yeah.
that content is aligning to me or not, just because of the situation,
Hmm.
practical situation at my end, the machine algorithm that side learned that okay, I have spent 1 hour at here.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just thinking if this is a boon or a bane because in a way I can look at it as a boon as well because then I mean I'm just like kind of opening up my algorithm to a thing to things that I might not prefer. And I just like I don't know, it's kind of a bit confusing.
Yeah. I think that a lot of people do that now, and they would have updated their prediction algorithms. Um, I do listen to sometimes some videos or whatever it is while going to bed. After about, I haven't noted the time, but after about 15-20 minutes, my watch, smartwatch, communicates to my phone based on my heart rate that I've gone to sleep. And I get a pop-up that it appears that you're sleeping, playback paused. So I think if on end consumer devices this is available, big companies such as Google and X and all that, I think they would disregard this sort of metadata and
Behavioral data.
data. Yes,
Yeah.
that you will play for an hour. Probably they'll disregard it after 10 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever it is.
Oh,
Probably.
because they will have a threshold of that as well.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
So, recommendation algorithms filter through content and show us what they think is most relevant to us. Sometimes we speak, my wife has told me, I've noticed as well. Sometimes we are speaking, of course, the phones are listening 24/7. They bring up ads related to the speech.
Hmm.
So the devices around us are listening, and of course, they are being sourced as data, being on sold to these big companies to provide us tailored content that might be helpful in some scenarios, but it actually helps advertising from their perspective as well. How is AI trained? So how do we create a model? And this is general conception. Okay, this image has been created using AI as well, generative AI. What do you notice? How does the picture show AI learning? So we notice a couple of things there. I'll move on to the next slide. We see the robot, which represents AI, and it's surrounded by people showing it books slash data. These humans are called trainers.
Yeah, the
So,
example that we use.
yes, I've been using throughout. So these are trainers that train the software through the subject matter that they have on how and what data to look at. Okay. What data to look at are in the bubbles now. So the trainers are sharing data with AI to help it learn. The data is represented. This is just a graphical representation of how a model is created or what's the back end of a model, basic structure. So the data is represented by books and speech bubbles, and we can use the data the AI is trained on, also known as inputs. And based on the inputs being processed by AI, it derives some outputs. So there are three main components. Of course, there are two characters, trainers and AI. And then there are in a workflow of creating an AI model, there's input, processing by the AI model, and output. So based on these three different, not different, these three sequential workflow items, we look at if we have an input, which is input consists of real-time traffic data, map locations and routes, weather conditions, and sensor data such as speed, distance, and cameras. What sort of output can we create using an algorithm? Self-driving cars. Self-driving cars will use sensors and they would know where to be. And just because they have access to this data and the machinery that is present, which would be the vehicle, and that machine can actually understand these inputs, this output can be self-driving cars can be derived. So the three basic buckets are input, processing of that data by AI algorithms, and some form of output. So if we have inputs of search history, social media activity, online purchases, and video watch history, we can, using AI algorithms, we can create a personalized advertisement. Just basic workflows. Module 3 is AI technologies and tools overview. So primarily, uh, we don't have tech audience, so we have just a classification of helping them understand that different tools are used in creation of AI. There's no singular tool that is being used. Yes, Claude is being used now, but these are the components that are being used to create an AI algorithm. So one part is the application part, such as examples are image recognition, speech recognition, chatbots, natural language generation, sentiment analysis. So that is the functional part, the application part. However, on the software and hardware, you would need GPUs, graphics processors units to process ones and zeros, bits, parallel processing tools, so software tools like Spark that can actually take ingress data and process it based on the requirements of the algorithm. Cloud data and compute storage are also used. Then there are programming languages for programming. Now, there's no one set programming language for AI algorithms. What organizations usually do is if they have an in-house software development team, they would end up using the programming language that is being used for other programs in their organization as well, because they can then reuse that resource pool. But generally, Python, TensorFlow, Java, C probably not, but still might be used in some organizations. Then modeling is also important. What type of models do we need based on the use cases? So deep learning models. Deep learning means that there would be a plethora of data, and there would be an immense number of values or inputs based on different use cases, such as the medical industry might have n number of tests. Each test might have a value or an integer or some sort of input coming into the AI algorithm. Machine learning we have discussed, and neural networks we have discussed as well. Now, the type of model required, whether we use machine learning, whether we use deep learning, just data inputs, or neural networks, depends on the use case. Such as, I'll refer back to the example that you asked about deploying Copilot in, let's say, students' devices. So we would not need neural networks for that. We would not need machine learning, perhaps deep learning based on the inputs that we receive on requirements in which we have discussed will do. Okay, so this slide is primarily on programming. So how would programming look like in terms of uh, a strategy or the components, logical components of a programming? So first would be, we need to train that AI algorithm to learn. So what that part is, to capture data and creating some sort of synthesize that data based on some rules. So these rules are algorithms, step-by-step instructions on how to complete a specific task. So medical industry, we have to diagnose, let's say, a disease. So collection of data, analysis of symptoms and data, and then producing some outputs, possible list of diseases. Next step would be reasoning. So once we have received these possible list of diseases, then there would be another algorithm from a programming perspective that would identify that perhaps the first three diseases um, cannot be present in a patient at the same time. So that algorithm will decide and revert back to a reason based on a reasoning algorithm to cross out, let's say, one or two diseases. And then there's self-correction. This aspect of AI programming is designed to continually fine-tune algorithms and ensure that they provide most accurate results. So for example, the reasoning algorithm struck down a disease which was actually later found out to be present. Then that goes as a corrective feedback loop to update the reasoning algorithm that this disease was found, and these out of these three diseases, yes, two can be present in a patient, let's say at 50 years of age, etc. And the last part is creativity. So this is um, based on, not every use case will use creativity, but in order to generate um, new content. So neural networks, rule-based systems, statistical methods, and other AI techniques to generate new images, text, new music ideas, novel music, etc. Creativity is kind of a latch on to learning, reasoning, and self-correction. It might not be present in as of today, most of the programming sequences. Some examples: AI tools, text to speech. You'll get this slide. I'm just cognizant of time. Education, chat and assistant. So these are some examples.
Mm.
And we come to roadmap of AI implementation. We started off with looking at what AI is, identifying some use cases. We've had an in-depth discussion as well. Then technologies and tools overview for AI. Now, once we embark on the journey, we have decided the business case, why AI is important, tools, everything. Once we embark on the AI implementation, there will be some areas that we need to look at. So from a business perspective, we need to identify business needs. Where can AI add value? So it's just like, yes, AI is a buzzword, but can it add value to my organization? Can I use it for optimization of a
How would
process?
you evaluate that?
So we, depending on the use case or the business structure, we need to identify whether there are, let's say, can we automate tasks which are being managed manually right now or not? So, for instance, there's a report being generated at 10 a.m. from three different departments for the overnight operations of an industry of the organization. Can this be automated? Right now, it's manual. Can this be automated or not? What are the current people doing? Are they actually running scripts? If they are running scripts on a computer system, and then they are collating that output, so maybe collation of outputs can be automated so that there's no manual collation. So it depends on the business. Then, in terms of optimization, so let's discuss supply chain. Let's say Maersk is shipping goods from Africa to the Middle East, right?
Mm, mm,
Uh, they are shipping, let's say, giraffes or whatever, or frozen meat, for example. And the temperature sensors, they've installed temperature sensors and all that in the container, but there's somebody on the container ship, which is transport ship, who manually checks the readings every hour or 2 hours. Can this be automated? Yes. Can they employ IoT devices to read that data and send that via Starlink and update that every minute? Yes. So who will manage that? An AI algorithm. You don't need a person or an operations center to do that. So a layer of AI algorithm can be deployed on top. So depending on the use case, there can be, number one, think about automation. Which areas can be automated? Because something which can be automated, AI can manage that. Number one. Number two, think about what did I say? Automation, optimization, and think about revenue generation as well. Sometimes you can sell data. So let's assume this container ship is owned by a third party and it has containers of Maersk and Shell and something else and something else. Now, the Maersk does not have this capability. Can this owner of the container ship, the shipping vessel, can they deploy new technologies, deploy AI on top of that hardware in order to on-sell that data of temperature sensors and humidity every minute to Maersk? Will that create a new revenue vertical? Yes. So it depends on the business case. Data is key. Ensure you have access to clean, structured data to train AI models. All of the software programs, they are as good as the data. If the input data is bad, it has errors, the output will be worse. So we need to ensure that, let's say, temperature, humidity sensors, they're working correctly. Any person who's inputting manual data into an AI automation algorithm is inputting good, correct data, etc. Choose the right tools, select AI platforms that align with your business needs. Again, what's deployed, the technology deployed in your organization, can you reuse a part of that? If yes, then reuse it. Otherwise, look for pertinent technology sets. Start small, begin with pilot projects. Again, with any implementation projects, start small, software implementation project. Address ethical concerns, consider the ethical implications of using AI, including data privacy and bias. Bias we have discussed, data privacy we will discuss in the next few slides. So what does AI system lifecycle look like? This is very similar to software implementation lifecycle with some additions. So we look at the left part, which is context. So we plan and design based on operations. right? There are certain operations that need to be conducted within an organization, um, whether that is or a project that needs to be conducted within an organization. We plan and design based on that. So system operators and end users, they sit down and discuss what the key features they need, what would be the design, well, not the design, but the plan in order to implement an AI project. One part of that, which is number two, is data and input. So what sort of data is required and what sort of inputs are required for implementation of that AI project? So data collection becomes a sub part of data and input. The third is AI model. Once we have identified what the data is, inputs are, what the requirements are in context, and the data in number two, green, the AI model can be trained or AI model can be created, calibrated. It is validated under a pilot program, and then task and output. Once it's deployed, the key actors are system integrators. Now, there's this life cycle going back into context as well, because once we speak about machine learning, neural networks, then we need a feedback loop. So that feedback loop comes as an output into design, into planning. That might change planning parameters, which might change data and input, which might change or turn or convert or upgrade the AI model, which again might change the output as well. So this is a cyclic process until there is a refined
Hmm.
um, AI model that is behaves as expected with a certain level of tolerance, which is
Hmm.
tolerable within that organization or industry.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right.
Converging
Converging
to.
technology set. So I spoke about Internet of Things, blockchain, and AI. Now, this is important from a use case perspective. These are three different technologies.
Hmm.
Internet of Things is okay. We'll discuss blockchain. So blockchain primarily is a ledger. It records transactions between two machines, two parties. AI we have discussed, and while AI excels in pattern recognition and intelligent decision making, blockchain provides a data storage or a data transactional layer which is secure and tamper proof. It cannot be, transactions on blockchains cannot be changed as long as
Hmm.
they are, of course, large enough blockchains. IoT collects, Internet of Things collects data from sensors and the real world, and the collection, post collection, the data is digital. So, how do they converge with each other? Blockchain provides the transactional layer,
Hmm.
IoT provides the data layer, input data layer, and AI provides the overall algorithmic data analysis layer. So these are,
So,
yeah,
so the IoT box should be first,
yes,
and the blockchain should be in middle, right?
yes, IoT, blockchain, apologies, I spoke about blockchain first. IoT is the layer at the bottom which collects data, sends that
Hmm.
data, records that on the blockchain.
Hmm.
Blockchain then pushes that onto AI, which that performs analysis based on the algorithms.
Okay.
Okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
all right. Let me go through this very quickly. I need to zoom in actually for this. So there we go.
Oh, smart home. Wow. Smart building as well. Nice.
Yes, yes, yes. And there's a smart city as well at the end. Anyway, so how do these three different technologies work together? First one is, I'll just give you basic examples for these, just looking at time. First one is, let's say there's a water leakage sensor at in your house. There's a water leak. An IoT sensor picks that. sends that data across, stores that on the blockchain. Blockchain is connected to AI. AI raises an alarm in some shape or form. Okay. Oops. So next is smart building. Now let's assume that uh, there's this building which has solar panels on top of it. It generates electricity. Um, all the data is stored on the blockchain. Sensors are connected to the solar panels, inverters, and all that. So we get data for usage of that generation in the building at different hours of the day. Let's assume on Thursday evening, in the past 3 weeks, the consumption has been less than generation. So the AI algorithm identifies that and sends uh, a signal to the fellow building's AI next to it to sell excess generation for 1 hour when the actual consumption of the building is predicted to be less. So these smart buildings talking to each other and transacting with each other using blockchain, and the decision making capabilities using AI, and of course the sensors, they provide real inputs. Oops. And last one is a smart car. Sorry, not a smart city, smart car. So imagine where you have a smart car parked in your porch, and you go to bed. Your smartwatch collects data at about 11:30 p.m. You are in deep sleep because of your heart rate. It goes down. The watch detects that you are in deep sleep, sends data of your deep sleep onto so it acts as an IoT device, sends that data via blockchain or pushes that onto blockchain. AI analyzes that data, identifies you're in deep sleep, identifies in the past 7 days you were in deep sleep for the next 50 minutes. All right. Identifies the time, checks your smart vehicle. The smart vehicle responds, acting as an IoT device, responds that the charging is at 3%. Tomorrow is Thursday, it is Wednesday night. AI checks your vehicle consumption on Thursdays. Thursdays, you go to work, you drive 50 kilometers, 2% or 5%. Let's say, assume it's 5% charging is less. You at least need 30%. AI coordinates all of these, sends a signal to the smart car after identifying which smart charger the autonomous self-driving vehicle should drive to at that hour of the day where there's less queues. It instructs where to go. The vehicle charges, converts by itself. There's a robotic arm which goes in, charges, comes back. The payment is made via blockchain. Transactional layer, the vehicle drives back, sends a signal to AI via blockchain that it's back home. It's charged at least 30%. AI notifies your watch via, of course, the transactional layer blockchain that your vehicle is ready for tomorrow's ride and is charged at least 30%. So all of that is happening while you're sleeping. Managed by AI, transactional through blockchain, and these devices are exchanging, IoT devices are exchanging information.
Okay. Yeah. This smart car actually sort of use case we did for Honda.
Oh, you did? Okay. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Module 5, overcoming challenges. So data privacy and security. So this is one of the important parts that we discussed. I'll discuss more here. Data privacy is a big thing. You are in the UK, you must be aware about GDPR as well, which is in the EU. Then there would be data privacy laws in the UK as well. Each jurisdiction has their own data privacy laws. Digital technologies primarily are affected by it. So uh, there's some tension between data privacy and security and AI, because AI is as good as the inputs. If it has a larger data set, it will become more refined. But what data can be shared, what data cannot be shared is a compliance issue primarily. So this becomes a consideration and challenge for AI.
Mm.
Bias we have discussed at length. Job
Obviously.
displacement concerns are, of course, an important one as well. Lack of trust. Every new technology, initially, once I saw a TV interview from the 90s, and
Mm.
this host was saying, "Oh, what is email? I would never end up using email." Right?
Okay.
I
Yeah.
physically love my right before he was keen on knowing what email is, and then it's a very famous clip on YouTube somewhere.
Mm.
So there's always lack of trust. Then there was blockchain technology, then IoT, then AI. So there's always this tension between adoption versus new tech.
Mm.
It requires a wealth of clean data. So the AI algorithm will be as good as the data,
Mm.
which is input, requires a large amount of computing power, capable infrastructure. Billions of dollars are being invested in this all across the globe in data centers for running AI algorithms. Difficulty in determining intellectual property ownership. Now, if there's a creative AI and it generates something novel, a novel piece of art, who
Mm.
owns that art? Does the AI own that art? Does the programmer own that art? Does the creator of that AI, developer of that AI own that art? Does the person who provided the concept own that art? Does who owns that piece of art? So there are no laws. Of course, law always lags technology, but currently there are no laws in determining intellectual property.
Mm.
And gaining customer acceptance, improved efficiency, personalized experiences. Some people still have, it's a generational thing. I think one generation will not adopt AI, the following one will. Just like each technology is different and cumbersome for one generation, but it's useful for the next.
Mm.
Okay, that brings us to Q&A.
And we had a lot of Q&A
We
during the
did.
session. I don't know that up until in your experience, there have been so many interjecting cues. Was it?
I'm happy with that. Actually, as long as you're happy with the key takeaways that you wanted today, I'm happy.
Yeah, I mean, there was a bit of fog which got a bit clear in terms of business case development. So I got, actually I knew it, but then it's good that through through we like I got enlightened, the
Different
lot of
lens. Yeah,
yeah, and
that
clearance
helps.
of fog as well. And yeah, Nan, there's immense knowledge that you have, and it's incredible to, be a learner. And I'd certainly look forward to learning more. And if you allow, I would love the opportunity to connect with you over LinkedIn if it is absolutely fine and you're comfortable.
Yes, you can. I think you can find me on LinkedIn.
Yes,
Uh,
as Adnan.
Java. I'll type it here. Here we go. That's fine. Send me an invite. Should be okay.
And
Otherwise,
just to give you
yeah.
uh, a sense, like right now, I'm an MBA student, a full-time MBA student. I have 8+ years of experience,
Hmm.
and I've worked with Larsen and Toubro
Hmm.
for North America and Europe region, wherein I was majorly and specifically associated to Industry 4.0 business unit of
Okay.
L&T.
Okay.
And I'm here in Manchester with Alliance Manchester Business School for
Hmm.
their learning teaching method on trying to pursue and complete my MBA.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
That's really good to learn, and it's good that you are curious, and of course, MBA with the tech knowledge that you have will be very useful in terms of shaping new um, valuable use cases, I would say.
Hopefully, yes. I'm intending to do that, and I hope things fall in place because at the end, it's also about life, and I believe we should
Hmm.
also allow it to take its turns and breathe and flow, and sometimes. But yeah, I certainly value what you're saying, Adnan, and I hope your best wishes follow on to me. That'll be great.
Of course, all the
Yeah.
best.
Adnan,
Yeah.
I looked up for you on LinkedIn. Should I put in organization name as Rapid Skill?
I'm not sure Rapid Skill Up is updated there because we have two organizations. There should be Blockchain Smart Solutions as well. Let me link them.
Blockchain. Oh, so you're just Adnan J. Product Web 3, is it?
Yes, that's me. Once you send me
RMIT.
an invite, you might not see my profile, but once you send an invite, once I accept, it'll be there for you.
Oh, that's nice.
Somehow my profile is restricted, in a good sense because I get a lot of
Agree.
invites. So
Yeah.
I think LinkedIn has some algorithm to restrict viewership somehow. I don't know whether it works in my favor or not. I'm not sure.
Mhm. Understand. So right now it says consultant with blockchain smart solutions, is it?
Yes,
Okay. I have just sent you an invite. I believe you might have received it right now.
I'll check it. No
All right.
worries.
Okay.
You
Okay.
take care
Adnan,
then. If there are no
thank you so much.
questions,
Yeah, and I'd love to, like maybe we can have a call later sometime whenever you have time, connect over things
we
whenever.
can just drop me a message on LinkedIn and should be okay then.
Yeah, that's great for a virtual coffee chat.
Yes, of course.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Adnan. You have a
You have a
great
good
evening.
day. You'll
You
hear
too.
from Emily by tomorrow, I believe. I'll send her an email so she'll connect with you.
And also the recording.
Yes, I'll let her know.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much, Adnan. Really sweet of you.
Okay then. Thank you very
Take care.
much.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.